Hello guys and welcome to Inside the MLB. Today is the premiere episode of Twins Weekly, a series where every week I go over and review and analyze Twins happenings. Today I'm going to be going over the major off-season acquisitions for the Minnesota Twins this past year. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this series. And let's jump right into it. So to start off with, I'm going right at the big fish, Josh Donaldson. So we signed him for a 4-year, $92 million deal with a 5th-year club option. So I have to admit, when I first heard this, I kind of cringed a little, just because his age, a 34-year-old, combined with paying him $23 million a year, it's a big risk. That's all I'm saying. But as I looked into it more and more, I realized that, this is actually a really good signing. Besides his base level statistics of 900 OPS, 37 home runs, which are superb, his underlying statistics are actually even more impressive, I would argue. He had his highest barrel percentage, his highest hard hit percentage, and his highest exit velocity in the past 5 years in 2019, and that's including his MVP 2015 season. Also, he was in the top 6% in expected WOBA last year. He's an elite hitter, and his underlying statistics show that this can continue for a while. Another thing that Donaldson brings is his fielding. Last year, his outs above average was 8, which puts him definitely in the upper tier of defensive third baseman. And I find this probably the most important aspect of Donaldson's game that we're gaining because, to be honest, our defense, especially on the left side, is horrendous. Last year, Polanco, Odorizzi, and Sano were 3 of the 4 worst fielders on our team. So to plug elite third baseman into that infield that can provide nice defensive value, that's where Donaldson and this $23 million a year, that's where the value is being put in, the defense. Now, I'm hoping he can keep that up, but I'm not 100% sold on the fielding part. For the past 2 to 3 years before last year, he was a league average defender, but I'm holding out hope that he can keep around that 8 outs above average. And one last thing I would like to add about Donaldson is it's pretty clear we're paying him for the first 2 to 3 years of the deal, and the last 1 to 2 years will probably be pretty rough considering we're paying him $23 million a year, 37 years old, but we're paying him for the front half of the contract. So as long as he performs then, I'm okay if he doesn't perform as well afterwards. But moving on, next guy I'd like to talk about is Jake Odorizzi. Now, we brought him back on a 1-year qualifying offer for $17.8 million. Now, I like the signing because, as you know, he had a breakout year last year with a 3.51 ERA and a FIP to match that at 3.36. Unfortunately, he didn't have the greatest expected FIP. It was more toward league average, and that's actually the reason why I love this pickup. Because if he didn't accept the qualifying offer, we probably would have had to bring him back for like a 3 or 4 year deal worth anywhere from 15 to 20 million. But if he does regress next year, which unfortunately I think he is going to, then we can pay him a 3-4 year contract deal, maybe 12 million, and save a little money to go get someone else. So as much as I hate to say it, I think he's gonna regress this year, and that's the reason why I love this pickup, because it's only a 1-year deal. So if he does get a little worse, we can sign him next year, because I do like him. He's a nice 2-3 starter that can provide some innings and some veteran leadership, and we can pay him a little less next year if he does regress. Next up is Homer Bailey, which we got for a 1-year $7 million deal. And actually, I'm not in love with this. I actually don't get it. I would have rather preferred to see Dobnik, Thorpe, or Smeltzer take that role in the rotation, because honestly, any one of those I think is better than Bailey. Last year he had around a 4 to 5 ERA, which is decent, but before that he had a 6 ERA. I would just rather have the young guys develop and see what they can do. And Dobnik, Thorpe, and Smeltzer, you could even have a 3-man rotation there in that last spot. I would rather have that than a $7 million guy that I just don't really trust. I would have rather put that money elsewhere. Even like Wade Miley, who's actually one of my sleeper picks next year to be really good. I'd rather, just sign him. I just don't get that signing. But it's 1 year, so we can move on next year. That's fine. Next player is another starting pitcher, Pineda. We signed him for a 2-year, $20 million deal. Now that is a prorated based on his suspension that he had last year, so it's more like $7.6 million this year. This is another pickup that I love because last year he was the best pitcher down the stretch for us. I mean, in July he had a 2.59 ERA. In August he had a 3.52 ERA. September he had a 2.25 ERA before he was shut down. Yeah, he was our best pitcher in the last few months last year, and I just love this pickup because hopefully he can keep that going and provide some good innings and some good run prevention for us. Fifth guy up is Alex Avila, a 1-year, $4.25 million deal, and for me, this is a meh pickup. It's meh because he's a weaker batter than Castro on the righty platoon, and I say that because Garver's always going to be hitting against lefties. He was a 198 weighted runs created plus last year, so that's outrageous. You always want Garver against lefties. So the backup catcher is more against those righty pitchers, so you want a stronger catcher who can hit better against righties, and Avila is 30 points below Castro on the weighted runs created plus, so he's weaker in the batting. But on the flip side, Alex Avila is stronger than Castro as a better framer and fielder. And this is, I would argue, even more important because Garver isn't as strong here. Garver's league average or even below for framing and a fielder. So to get a backup catcher that is a good fielder is probably better. So it's a meh to good pickup, Alex Avila, because he replaces Castro for about $2 million less and provides more defense. Next up is our bullpen, Sergio Romo. We had him for a 1-year, $5 million deal and a 2021 club option. I like this. He performed well for us down the stretch last year. I like keeping him around. Nice veteran leadership, playoff experience for the Giants. Went to 3 World Series with them. I like that, just provide some leadership, some innings. I like that we kept him. Seventh guy, Rich Hill. We had him for a 1-year, $3 million contract. And I'm going to be honest, this is my favorite signing of the offseason. Forget Josh Donaldson. Forget Jake Odorizzi. Forget Michael Pineda. Forget all those guys. Rich Hill. This is my favorite signing. A, he's cheap. $3 million. That's so cheap. For starting pitchers these days, that's outrageous. Number 2, he has an extremely high ceiling. For the past 4 years, his ERA has been 3.66 or lower. That's like frontline ace stuff. And the thing is, his xFIP has been right on par with these numbers too, showing that his underlying statistics prove that he can keep up this ERA and keep it at a good, nice level. And 3 out of those 4 years, he's pitched over 100 innings, showing that he can be reliable. He can be a nice starter to eat a few innings and to keep that ERA low. I love this pick so much. The third reason I love him too is he has that veteran playoff experience we seem to lack in last year's playoffs. I'm going to be honest. I thought we looked a little young last year in the playoffs, and he'll provide, leadership, playoff experience, stuff like that. And the fourth reason I love him is because he adds a lefty to our otherwise solid righty rotation. Right now, Brios, Odorizzi, Pineda, all those guys are righties, and to have him as a lefty that can slot in there is perfect because you want some variation. Otherwise, if a team in a series is all their batters are really good against righties, and you have all righty pitchers pitching against them, you're probably going to lose a whole lot. So I like a lefty to put in there a little and provide some variation there. Now, the one thing I'd add about Rich Hill is he has a high ceiling, but a low floor. I mean, he is 40. He's coming off elbow surgery. But he's cheap, so why not take that risk to get that really high ceiling of a great ERA? One time in the last 4 years, he had a 2.25 ERA. I mean, come on, that's ace material. I love that pickup. All right, next up is Tyler Clippard, another addition to our bullpen. 1 year, $2.75 million deal. He had good production last year and has been pretty consistent throughout his career, but I honestly don't understand this pickup. Why would we sign another righty to a bullpen that is stock full of righties already? Taylor Rogers is our only lefty in the bullpen. Everybody else is righties. Why would we sign another righty? I don't get this. Why not go get a lefty instead to, like I said before, add some variation? Because if you're going against a team that, like I said, is really good against righties, you're going to get hammered. So you want to get a lefty too that you can throw against those teams and give you a better chance and just give Rocco more options to choose from. I honestly don't get that pick. Ninth guy I want to talk about here is a guy we signed on a minor league deal, Jhoulys Chacin. And this is a why not move. Why not pick up a guy who only 2 years ago had a 2.5 win season and get him for basically chump change? I mean, there's basically zero risk, kind of like Rich Hill, high ceiling, low floor for a minor league deal. I mean, there's literally no risk. That's another great signing. The last offseason move I'd like to talk about is the Maeda for Graterol trade. And just for simplicity's sake, I'm just going to focus on if it was Kent and Maeda for Bruzdal Graterol, because otherwise there's other moving parts and minor league prospects, and I think we traded a pick to them. For simplicity's sake, I'm going to do Maeda for Graterol. So honestly, my first reaction when I heard this, I absolutely hated it. I hate it because I love Graterol, his potential with the 100+ mile per hour speed. These days in the majors, speed kills, to be honest. More and more pitchers are pitching faster, and you see that, honestly, sometimes those are the pitchers that are doing better. So speed kills in this league. But the more I thought about it, I realized that Graterol is probably going to be a reliever for life, because to maintain that speed as a starter is kind of hard. And he's probably someone who will most greatly impact us a few years down the road. Maybe as a closer when Rogers is gone or is aging, stuff like that. So he's probably going to be the greatest impact for us down the road. Well, meanwhile, Maeda helps us in the rotation right now, when we know our World Series window was open. In 2 to 3 years, when Graterol will have the greatest impact, you never know. The window could have closed, and maybe our team is bad and we can't make the World Series. And we would look back at this moment and say, we didn't do enough to capitalize when we knew our World Series window was open. So because of that, I love this move. Well, I like it. I still like Graterol. So I don't love it, but I like it because it helps us now, and it gets another. Maeda is good. He's at around a 3.4 ERA his whole career. So that's solid production. Nice 3 starter. So I like it because it helps us now, and it pushes us and gives us the best chance to win the World Series right now. So that's my review of the Twins off seasons, trading and free agents and stuff. Thanks for watching. And I'll see you next time on Inside the MLB.